This feels a little bit weird, man, because I'm used to speaking to you during fight week, but in your role or latterly, as you are calling fights and being a pundit and all that type of thing. And we spoke in December and obviously spoke about maybe The Last Dance. And you weren't too optimistic at that particular time, but I'll come back to that in a minute. This is the last time that we're going to speak during a fight week, man.
Yeah. There's a lot of last, going into this one. And it's okay. I think when people think about retirement, they think about all these things, they're afraid, because they don't know what's next. I think when you really take things into consideration, you go with the idea that the next act can be even more special. And I know what I've done in the octagon would be hard to top, but it can be more special. And I keep trying to stress that to the people around me, right? Because for 11 years, the vast majority of our lives have been lived around, DC has a fight, time for us all to come back together.
Mm-hmm.
Just because that's not necessarily going to be the reason, we can all come together for other things.
Was there a time between, for example, let's say November to April time that you thought that this might not happen, that the time might have already been called?
Yeah, there were times where I thought maybe it wouldn't happen. I think the clearest time was when I got that call. I got a call around November telling me that they were thinking about doing another super fight between heavyweight and light heavyweight. And I was like, well, I guess that means that, it's it for me, because I only wanted to fight one guy. But ultimately, they made it work for me. That's what the UFC's done for me, and on so many occasions, they make it work. And that was just another instance in which that happened.
I saw the video of you running in April.
Yeah, it was bad. It was all bad. I mean, I was living, man. I was living that big life,
That's it, man. You're in a different space.
I'm working, commentary. I'm traveling. Then I get stuck in quarantine. So I'm not doing anything. I'm just living home, eating, and not training. It was rough. I'm very happy. I ran a mile. That was a mile run, and I was gasping like that. I ran 1 mile, and I was just dying on the treadmill. It was awful.
How easy was the process then of getting back cardiovascular-wise to some type of baseline before you could start training?
It was tough. But you see, that's why you start in April, right? With the hope that May, June, July, August, 4 months, like, okay, I've kind of gotten it to the point that I can go. But it was tough, but I just had to kind of stay the course, right? I stuck a heavy bag up in my garage. I started punching it. And then I would run and I would punch the heavy bag. And the next day, I would get on the spin bike, the Echelon bike, and I would do that. And then I would do I would jump the rope a little bit. And I just kept doing little things every day for short periods of time, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then just go back to kind of just sitting around. But it was just start to get the work in order for when the time came, you had a baseline for at least performing a little bit. Granted, the beginning of sparring and training was terrible, but it got better as we kept going.
This is a weird one, actually, because I speak to a lot of fighters and they will say that the pandemic has hindered their preparation. But has the pandemic helped you? And when I say that, I've been around you during fight week. You're a popular guy. Lots of people want to speak to you, and even in the build up to a fight, you've got so many media obligations and what have you. With a pandemic, I would imagine that that's less so and you can just concentrate on the fight.
It all stopped. The pandemic sucks in a sense that kids aren't getting to go to school, be with their friends. They're all living in isolation. But the reality is, for me, all those things led to me being solely focused on the fight. No wrestling. I had no wrestling for 4 months. It's never been like that. I didn't coach one wrestling practice outside of my son. I didn't have to go to call any fights. I didn't do any media. I didn't have to go out and do media tours all around to promote the fight. I got to do everything from the comforts of my house. And so, and then I built a gym. I built a gym in my garage. I built myself a gym with a cage and everything to ensure that I had everything I needed in order to prepare. And I think we got it done.
How many times did the kids walk into the gym mid-session? Daddy, I want this. Daddy, I want that.
They see me out of the house with training. It's mostly good because they're good to play on their devices. So if I'm not in there hating on them playing on their devices, they're happy.
Listen, congratulations, because I know there's another little DC
Yes.
coming our way in the not too distant future.
Yep.
How's that been as well? Wife heavily pregnant. Has that affected preparations?
Oh, absolutely. You know, my wife's 7.5 months pregnant, 8 months pregnant now.
Wow.
And with the COVID and everything, it's like I don't want to run the risk of her getting it. And reality is, if I don't train, I lose. So I had to get my training partners, all the guys that I spar, I wrestle, I go hard with, and we all stayed at my previous residence because I had just moved back in like January. So my house before was still there waiting to get all ready to rent out.
Wow.
And so I said, instead of renting it, let's just all go live there. And we all just lived in there, sleeping on mattresses. And guys, it looked like a college dorm, man. It was bad. If you look at any of the pictures, it's like there's a TV up on the mantle, and then there's a TV on a chair on top of a box because we play video games together, co-op from the living room. It was crazy. But I would do that. Then I would go to the gym and train, or I would go to my other house and train. I would see my family from a distance and then go back to the other house. It was just what needed to be done from July 1 until August 15th. That's so 6 weeks away from my family, my wife and children.
House full of sweaty fighters, man. Good luck with renting that back out.
Yeah, well, I made sure, like I'm telling you, when we were done with the house, cleaning it up and everything was good. But then now, you know, we did the best we could, but we'll have somebody go in there professional and kind of get it back in order to get it rented out.
Listen, you're a big family man, so that sacrifice, and it is a sacrifice, that must have been hard. Very, very hard for you.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard every night going to sleep in a different place than your kids and your wife, you know, but also it was a sacrifice that we all made, and with an understanding that this is the biggest thing that I've ever done. So even if I was at home, I would need to be so selfish that it would become draining on my pregnant wife and my children. So by going to the other house, I would come back, I would eat, my nutritionist would make food, and then I would just sleep until it was time for practice again, or until I woke up and played video games. Like, I needed my mind to be so in that moment, in that idea that I had something to accomplish, that nothing else really mattered. And that it's a harsh reality for a guy that values family as much as I do.
Don't want to play on the emotional side too much, but with this being the last dance, is it upsetting that they're not going to be octagon side for that?
It's sad. It's sad that they're not going to be there. It's sad that, you know, I had to tell them bye on Sunday. You know, that was hard, because especially for my son, right? Because my son understands what his dad does, and he loves what his dad does. And he loves that I fight at the top of the UFC for so long. But when they see me on Saturday get my hand raised, they'll know that all this sacrifice was worth it, because then I can go home and I can just be dad again. I'm a terrible golfer. I took my son out the other day and I started showing him, and now we just hired a golf coach because I refuse to be bad at anything. So me and Daniel are going to take golf lessons when I get home, and I think that's going to be fun for us.
Mate, that'd be amazing. If he can make a career out of that on the bag, that's the retirement, DC, isn't it?
That's better than him doing anything. He could do anything outside of fighting, but that'd be ideal for me. I'll be his caddy.
I like it. I like that you're taking up golf as well. On a brighter note, training, seeing the pictures of Kane and Luke back in the gym. Yeah. It's like the three amigos all back together, man.
Yeah. It was the best, man. It was the best, because those are the guys that have done so much for me in my career. You know, those are my brothers, you know, and you don't get what we had very often, right? When I walked into AK in 2009, Luke was just a guy that maybe had 3-4 fights. Kane was a guy that was starting to make his ascent, but it was very quick, because you got to think Kane only has like 16 fights total, 17 fights total. So we all kind of like started almost together, all within a matter of like 2 to 3 years. We were all like starting at AKA, and we all went to the absolute top, right? We all went to the top of the sport. We all became UFC champion. Kane, 2-time UFC heavyweight champion. So it was special to see my boys back and helping me, because that's what they do. If you ever watch any of my fights, win or lose, the first people I'm in the back hugging, crying is Kane and Luke. If I'm winning, I'm celebrating with Kane and Luke, because they've always been, they're my brothers, and those guys mean the world to me. And I love all my teammates at AKA, but the relationship that we have is just something special.
I know he's going through some of his own personal tragedy at the moment, but it would have been wonderful as well to have Khabib there, because your relationship, you two are just hilarious, man. You need a stand-up show or something.
We do, but we talk all the time. Like I talked to him this morning. I talked to him yesterday. We talk just about every morning. You know, he's a good guy, man. And I told Khabib, I said, you know, bud, when you came, we call ourselves the Three Kings of AKA. That's what we call ourselves, because we were all champion. Because when Kane was UFC champ, Luke and I were Strikeforce champ, and we were like the Three Kings. You know, we were the three guys. And I said, Khabib, you came in and you became the fourth guy. I go, and not only did you become the fourth guy, the fourth king of the American Kickboxing Academy, you're the biggest. You're the king of kings, you know. And we saw you as a little brother in the corner, barely spoke English, wearing polo shirts to practice. But now you're the man. And then, you know, we're so proud of you. And you know, he's going through it. You know, it's very difficult. His father was his best friend. But if anyone can get through this, it's Khabib. And he's going to fight and defend his title with every bit of himself.
I don't want you to speak about this, but I know that you've been through something similar that Khabib has been through. So therefore, I'm sure you've offered him some helpful words during this very sad time for him. And we hope to see him back competing sometime soon. This fight, in the aftermath of the second fight, okay, because I know you're a super competitive dude, and we've seen that when you do lose, it does take hold of you and it festers with you and lives with you for a short period of time. How easy was it to let go of, or have you not let go of it?
It was tough. You know, from August till mid-October, November, I didn't even know if I was going to fight again. You know, I was just kind of like kicking back. I was coaching football with my son. You know, I was just in a bad place, you know, because I didn't fight to my potential. But the reality is, dude got it done. Stipe Miocic got it done. You know, he stayed in the fight, took a beating, and he got it done. And hats off to him. But it sits with me. These losses sit with me, especially when no one's around, right? Yeah. When my mind's free to think and my thoughts are free to come forward and overtake me, it really does sit with me. And it's tough. It's very difficult.
Is that because you blame yourself that you made an error? Because let's be honest, for everybody that watched that fight, they know you knocked him out in the first fight. The first 3 rounds, you've won them all, and then he switches. He made adjustments, and you've got to take your hat off and credit him that. But is it because you see something within that fight where you think, I shouldn't have done that? Well,
I should have blocked my body. I should have prepared better. I should have been more in shape to fight. You know, the reality is he made an adjustment. Beauty. You only get to do that once. You only get to make that adjustment one time. Because he fixes it. And he works on it tirelessly to ensure that it does not happen again. So you can't make those adjustments all the time. That was a Hail Mary, right? The Hail Mary was trying to go to the body because everything else was not working. And it worked. So it is what it is. But I was very disappointed in myself.
With that in mind, then, I want to talk about weight, because the second fight compared to the first fight, you came in 10 pounds lighter. What's the situation this week?
Well, so I was small mid-camp. I was all the way down like 233, and I started trying to gain more weight. I said, I need to be 240. I need to be at least 240. I need to be in the 40s. I need to feel stronger. Physically, I feel better, but I weigh a little bit more than last time. So it's like, that's fine, because I feel more in shape. I feel stronger. I feel more ready to go. The weight doesn't matter. It's how's your cardio? Is your cardio ready to go? And being small last time was great, but because I was smaller, I lost some muscle. I'm not doing that this time.
I saw your conversation with Ben. I know that you have a great relationship with him, and he reminded you of your skill set, sir.
Yes.
So I'm imagining that you're going to play to that skill set this weekend.
I'm going to use it much more this time. At least I intend to. But it would be a huge mistake if I go into the fight thinking I can't stand with Stipe Miocic, because I did it for 15 minutes last time, and I won the vast majority of it. So I just got to mix up all my tools. I have to do everything. And if I do everything, I'm going to win the fight.
I'm not going to ask you what you're going to do once the fight's over, because I just want you to live in that moment and enjoy that moment. It's a shame that there's not fans there so you can appreciate the adulation. But I read something this week that Dana doesn't want you to go. So he's probably going to give you another offer for another fight, my friend. And if you have your hand raised and you are the heavyweight champion again, you know what that offer's going to be. The offer to tempt you would be the trilogy with Jon.
Mm-hmm.
Would that tempt you out of retirement?
Right now, I'm pretty certain that this is what it is. You know, I go win the heavyweight championship and I ride off in the sunset. You don't just saying that nothing's possible. It's impossible is not. I don't want to do that because I'd be lying. Everything's possible. But if you ask me now, 95% that wouldn't even make me want to fight again. So, but again,
I live for the 5%, DC. I live for the 5%.
You also got to think, right? Like, I prepared for this one in the midst of a pandemic. So it required me staying away from my family. It required so many different things happening that I don't know if I'd be willing to do that again. That's all part of the reason, you know. So here's what it is, you know. Excuse me. We'll see. But yeah, 95% certain.
Listen, whatever you decide, you've earned it, mate. Well done. Fantastic career. I hope you get to live out that dream on Saturday evening, and good luck with the birth of the new addition to the Cormier family. Yeah. Thank you so much for all your time over the years, DC. Go well, my friend.
Thank you. You are the man. I appreciate it. Thank you for everything. I've been doing this all week. You know, I appreciate how you guys have covered me and how you guys have portrayed me to the masses. I really do appreciate it. And most of what I do and the perception of who I am is not possible without you guys in the media. And I truly am grateful for the relationships I've built. Thank you. Now I get to be a part of building other fighters.
Well, we enjoy it, man. We enjoy you calling fights as well. Take care, buddy.
Thank you.